Hey, what is up everyone? DiscussionVerse here, and in today's video we are diving into the latest horror entry from Robert Eggers. Coming off of Nosferatu, he is cooking yet again. This time around, the horror director-writer is going to be tackling a new fresh take on the infamous werewolf story. This time around, it's going to be set in 13th century England, which is equally just as exciting. You'll definitely want to be sticking around because there is a lot to chew on in terms of casting, tone, story expectations, and the old world horror Eggers does best. Real quick though, this is your friendly reminder to smash that like button, drop your thoughts down below in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, welcome to DiscussionVerse. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a new video. With that out of the way, let's get right into it. Alright, here's what we do know. Werewolf is slated to drop on December 25th, 2026. Yes, another Christmas Day horror release, which already tells me this thing isn't playing around. This is still an insanely bold move, but Eggers proved that this worked, especially with Nosferatu doing exceptionally well with its December release date of last year. The movie will be directed and co-written by Robert Eggers, who's once again collaborating with Schon, who was the same mind Robert Eggers teamed up with for The Northman. And speaking of reunions, Eggers is bringing back some familiar faces, as we have Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Lily Rose Depp, and the always commanding Willem Dafoe all circling roles for this movie. All three have already worked with Eggers before, so the cast already feels like a trusted circle stepping into something truly ambitious. The story itself is set to take place in 13th century England, a time already soaked in brutality, plague, religious fervor, superstition, which all are a perfect storm for horror. The setting isn't just a backdrop either. We're talking period accurate architecture, fashion, customs, and even the dialogue. Reportedly, the script stays true to the era, even including Old English with annotations and translations for modern viewers. For longtime fans, that is no true surprise with Eggers' works, though this level of authenticity is pure genius. We've seen exactly how this can elevate, especially with The Witch, A Lighthouse, and most recently Nosferatu in terms of the horror movies that he has done, resulting in full immersion into these movies' worlds and universes, which is just an awesome feat to accomplish. This proves that he wants you in the world and not just sitting there watching it. Originally, Werewolf was planned to be shot in black and white, which would have been an interesting stylistic choice, but that idea has since been dropped. Still, we can probably expect Eggers' signature aesthetic in terms of the moody lighting, wide static shots, unsettling quiet, and of course intense horror with full authenticity in terms of the setting and era. Now here's the other thing. We've had a lot of werewolf films, but very few that leave a lasting impression. That's why having Robert Eggers at the helm is so promising. He doesn't just make horror, he builds entire realities, ones that feel ancient, dangerous, and even cursed. And coming off his Nosferatu remake, which nailed the vibe and the marketing, I hope they do something similar with Werewolf. Don't show us the beast right away, let it simmer in mystery. Remember how they kept Count Orlok and Bill Skarsgård's design under wraps? That was a genius move. It made the reveal feel like a full-on event in and of itself, and I loved the same treatment for Werewolf and its creature design. What I wouldn't want is just another werewolf versus werewolf showdown, as we have already seen that before, especially with movies like The Wolfman, The Wolf, and the most recent Wolfman remake. And this isn't a dig or anything like that at these movies, as I personally enjoyed The Wolf, The Wolfman, and even some of Wolfman in terms of that new remake, though these still end in a predictable clash. The only movie that really defied and did its own thing with the werewolf story was An American Werewolf in London, which to this day still stands as the best werewolf movie out there. That film still stands the test of time, as it took many chances. So instead of a werewolf versus werewolf showdown, give us a more character-driven, lore-heavy, slow burn horror with a terrifying design. We could very well see a definitive take here, and if done right, Werewolf would genuinely become the definitive modern werewolf film, not just joining the ranks of greats like An American Werewolf in London, even surpassing it in both storytelling and the creature's design. Other honorable mentions for great werewolf designs would be Werewolf by Night, The Wolfman, and of course let's not forget Van Helsing's take, nor the awesome take from The Monster Squad. Would have been cool to see a little spin-off from that movie, but again, that's definitely an honorable mention to throw amongst here. And while design plus transformation scenes are crucial, there should be more beyond a great transformation scene. An American Werewolf in London set the precedent with that incredible raw physical shift, but too many recent werewolf films focus only on that and end up feeling hollow overall. I want the design to actually mean something, to be terrifying and tied to the story, not just a showcase of the effects. Beyond that, I can't wait to see how the medieval angle plays into this. Imagine knights, full armor, swords, shields, going up against a creature of folklore and nightmare. I'm guessing that Aaron Taylor-Johnson might be playing a knight or soldier figure who gets cursed or infected, which opens the door to some really rich myth building. Seeing the clash of religious fear, ancient superstition, and raw survival, especially in a time when werewolves weren't just monsters but omens, that's the kind of world world Eggers would absolutely thrive in. If they lean into that, Werewolf could give us a horror experience that's more than just teeth and gore, but drenched in lore, psychology, and chaos. All in all, Werewolf has the potential to become the werewolf movie of this generation. With Eggers at the helm and an incredible cast already building and a brutally immersive setting announced, it's got all the pieces of the puzzle to be something truly special. And I'll be honest, I've always had a soft spot for creature feature horrors, especially when it comes to werewolves. There's just something about the tragedy, the duality, and that raw animalistic fear that hits different when it's done right. Alongside the Gillman from Creature from the Black Lagoon, that mix of the primal horror and myth, it just never gets old, especially when the story is done right. Now, here's an interesting thought, because what's wild is it almost feels like Robert Eggers is tackling the classic Universal monsters one by one, as he's already given us Nosferatu with Count Orlok, who is a clear homage to Dracula, and now we are getting Werewolf later in December 2026, which very much leans into the classic Wolfman storyline and territory. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up doing his own take on something like Gillman or Frankenstein or even the Mummy next, considering there has been plenty of attempts at reviving the classic Universal monsters and none that were successful. It's almost as though Robert Eggers is showing that he can do this himself with his own flavor and take, while not disrespecting the property from which it comes from. If this is the path that he is heading down, then I for one am all the way in, though this is definitely more so just a theory of mine. That being said, this does wrap up my thoughts on the upcoming werewolf film from Robert Eggers, and I would love to know your thoughts if you guys are excited for this, and if you think that Robert Eggers will reinvent the myth and make something truly memorable, or if it could fall into the same traps as past takes on the classic werewolf tale. Drop it all in the comments down below. I read every single one. And one last friendly reminder for you guys to smash that like button, and if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this video, make sure you click that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you never miss a new video. Once again, this is DiscussionVerse, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.